Things aren't that rough, have to wait on Jesus' timing. But you've been struggling, trying to find out how to find Him. Look at the signs and wait on Jesus' timing.
Welcome everyone. This is episode 1 of Siastes. We have me, the CEO and founder of Siastes, and we have
Priority. Yeah, you already know what's popping. I am Priority, and I am a founder and CCO of RoundTable Records, and also the marketing and PR specialist for Siastes. So I'm happy to be here. Nice to be talking to you, boss. Oh, man.
Okay, and with this, we're going to give you a deep dive into tech. We're going to go into fintech. We're going to speak about the arts, and we're going to show you how blurred all of these industries are. We're going to also go into the blockchain. We're going to go into AI, and all these topics will be mentioned within the podcast. Today, I just want to give you like a brief overview of who we are as individuals. So first, I'll let Priority introduce himself.
Yes. So me myself, like I said, I'm a founder of a company, RoundTable Records, and we explore the arts, and we look at arts as a nice combination. At least RoundTable Records looks at it as it can be worked with in terms of the STEM community, the business community, and we look at artists as a service-based business, and they give off products, which is their music, right? And how important they are to the world and to tech as a whole and to business as a whole. Because I mean, how else do things get as famous as they do?
Right?
I agree. It's because of these artists and entertainers, that just create creatives that create things that go on to these platforms and make them interesting, make them something that people want to tune into, want to talk about, want to engage in.
I agree.
Like, that's what they do. So kind of looking at artists from that lens and making them get the respect that they're due.
I agree. Just based on that, and I just want to give you like just a quick deep dive into Siastes as a whole. Is a social fintech news platform. So you go on your app, you can download the platform, you can go into the chat, speak amongst yourselves, you can go into the forum, start any subject matter, any thought that comes to your mind. Everyone is included within tech. It's not just those who have gone to coding school, not just those who are just reading many books about fintech, blockchain, but if you're in the arts, you are also part of tech. So I just want to ask just a quick question, because the first thing that comes to people's minds when you're in the arts is, I'm doing an advert. Can you please come and sing this hook? Can you please be in the advert? But the truth is, those in the arts are actually specialists in marketing. They are specialists in public relations. So how has that been for RoundTable?
Well, you see, this is what we kind of stress, right? Is that artists can do so much more than what people see that they can do, right? They are able to do the marketing, like you said, like they have to do it for their music, because how else will they be able to sell their product, which is the songs that they create, right? They are a service-based business themselves, because it's amazing when they go out and they perform and they do their stuff on the stage and people are like, wow, stuff. But they make products as well, which is their music. And so it's important to see their value more than just, they can just make a jingle for you. Or
I agree.
They can enhance your business in creating engagement, making it, have stronger branding. Like, this is a thing that artists do because they have to, like, already for their own brand. They have to go out, they have to go and network. They had to know how to talk to people, how to, and we're talking about the ones that actually get successful in the way that, a lot of people who see artists and see successful artists want to get to, like people that are artists want to get to. Like, this is what they do. Like, they have to do all these things to get to that next level, right? To set them apart from the other artists. Right? So seeing that and knowing that, it shows how important it is for businesses and people in tech to work with them, because people sometimes when they hear business or they hear tech or STEM,
Yeah.
for instance, they think, oh, boring. Like science, technology, engineering, math. Like I'm already trying to sleep. And it's like, no, those are amazing things that allow for things like TikTok, Spotify, YouTube's, Google's, like all those things, Instagram, to be created.
Yep, I agree.
For you to even engage in the content that's being made on those things, right? So, like, if we allow for artists to properly work together with, businesses and in tech companies, we can allow for a lot more entertainment to be, there, a lot more engagement to be connected to those things, and, really push forward in those tech companies that might be trying to come up and trying to find a way to, make some money in the meantime before they, 100%, like, I guess, blow up or whatever.
I think you mentioned about the tech companies. When someone thinks of a tech company, you think of Apple, you think of Nvidia, you think of so many companies. Not too many of them have black tech CEOs. And I feel like in the arts, a lot of the time within the arts, there are also CEOs who are also black. And the arts don't get that much respect. It gets notoriety, but the respect part is what we are trying to establish. Amongst that particular industry, why do you feel like it doesn't get the same respect level as other industries?
I think that's like a two-pronged issue. So one side is, the business people, the tech people. They don't look at a lot of artists, especially like up-and-coming artists, as professionals. Like, they think that they're there just for, the fun and the love of it. And they don't understand what goes into it. And, depending on the process of that artist or how important like they're taking their artistry may be true. So that's why I say it's a two-pronged issue. And, on the artist side, they look at the STEM and business stuff. It's, no, like that's boring. It feels like school stuff again. Like, I'm going back to school. It's like, no, these are important things for you to be successful. Like, this is how you become a successful artist. Like, there's difference between artists and successful artists.
That's true.
Right? Because these successful artists actually get paid, yo.
That what you said is definitely true. Because when it comes to the tech industry, you hear a lot of numbers. Oh, I raised this amount. I raised 800,000. I raised 1 million. But the truth is, we don't talk about how many users does your app really have. The same way with the arts industry, you can see someone's Spotify numbers. Yes, the higher ups, they may inflate certain numbers, but when it comes to artists like yourself, you know that you have a core fan base. The tech industry is a whole different ballgame. Because there's so much funding involved, it kind of is like a too big to fail mentality. And yet, no matter how much funding you get, you can still fail. And I feel like even having conversations with you regarding marketing, regarding public relations, it got me in a different perspective. It made me realize, like, instead of seeing a musician as someone that can help put my brand up, look at them as an individual. Who are they? Put aside their background, put aside what school they've been to, and look at them as an individual. And I feel like in tech, we don't really have that. We just feel like, okay, you want to apply for this position? Go on LinkedIn. What have they done on LinkedIn? Okay, you get my marketing position. But really and truly, people have gifts within them, which if you spend at least 10 to 15 minutes with someone who you're about to employ, without looking at what they've done in the past, you can realize that they are essential to your business. Do you have that same mindset in regards to RoundTable and the musicians you bring forth? Do you guys really feel like, okay, let me put aside what they've done in the past. Let me see what they can do now and in the future.
Right. I think that's a really good point. I think the main thing is, okay, obviously you look at like, what is your potential like, but are you teachable? Right? Like, how are you in terms of being taught this needs to be done as an artist so that you can find your target market, right? Target audience. This needs to be done so that you can properly get paid outside of just the clubs. Like, you also need music that can be played in corporate areas. Why?
Yeah.
Because they already got the money. Like they're not asking you, to say, like you have to bring 10 people first
Yeah.
before we pay you. Oh, your quality. Oh, you're good at what you do. I need you to come here to impress my other corporate compadres.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Like you're already in that mindset. Like we
Yeah.
need you
I agree.
to do this because your music is quality and it fits with our company's values. It fit like you can actually create music
Yeah.
that caters towards that
Yeah.
that audience, right? And make money off of that. And so there's this idea of, okay, are you able to be teachable? And I think that, and I'll ask a question, I guess, back to you. Like,
Yeah.
do you think that in the tech space, you guys kind of see, I guess, people that you're going to hire
Yeah.
as that? Like, you do look at them like, okay, but you might be not as good as this candidate, but I feel like you're more teachable, like, or you connect more with my business and the culture that I'm trying to create.
I feel like as tech CEOs, we need to be more hands-on. So we need to be part of the recruiting process and not just look at the credentials and put people to the side. I feel like there's so much value to a human being if you spend time with them and stop allowing age to be a barrier. There are some 18-year-olds, 20-year-olds that are way smarter than someone who's 30, but the 30-year-old has way more credentials. And that's the problem. So many people have gone to school, but they're just at home. They haven't worked in 4 to 5 years because they don't have enough experience with the next man. So I feel like for me personally at Siastes, anyone who's part of the team, I don't just look at what you've done or what school you've gone to. I look at who you are as an individual. There are certain people when I visit Ghana, West Africa, where my family is from, they don't have the credentials as the Western world. But I may say, oh, you know how to code. Okay, can I see what you've done on GitHub? Can I see what you've done on GitLab? And they know how to do it. I might say, I'm going to add you to my tech team, in which I've done to someone who's in Ghana. And they're like, why me? I haven't gone to school. And I'm like, but you were able to code. You were able to do the same coding that I know how to do. So join the team. I feel like we need to do more of that instead of putting people to the side. And that comes with a level of humility too. Because the same way that I may say, oh, can you come and join Siastes? I can learn from you too. Why? Because you have gifts which I don't have.
Yeah.
And I feel like we need to do that more as a society to start bridging the gap between who you are, how you look like, your coach, etc. And learn from each other.
Yeah, because like, what is your grind like?
Correct.
Right? Like your grind actually kind of separates maybe what your skill is now to what your skill can be, right? And when you're looking at somebody from that lens, it's completely different. Like you start to see them in a completely different light. And, you know, us as artists, we kind of have to have that outlook. Like, what is your potential going to be? What is your outlook, right? Like, where can you be based off of not just your skill level of how great you can sing, but what's your musical IQ, right? Like, how do you think about, you know, songs or quality of songs and marketing the song, and who it's supposed to be, you know, targeting? Like, those things are very business related, right? And I love that you talk about like talking to, you know, your you know, people that you're going to hire, because, you know, from, you know, checking stocks and, you know, being in the markets myself, I heard that, you know, people in NVIDIA, 76, like 6% are millionaire. Like that is insane. Like, what is making you stay in that company to work? What are they doing at NVIDIA that these other companies are not doing for 76? Like 76 is higher than 75.
Yes.
That's already 3/4.
It's crazy.
Right? Of people that are millionaires, but you're 3/4 and 1%. Right? So what what is that? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what is the mentality probably like that goes into something like that?
I feel like it all starts from the top. It It all starts from the top. Like if you create a culture which is more like a family, and you start teaching financial literacy to all of your team from the beginning, they'll realize like, okay, I may not pay you as high as the next company, but you will obtain this amount of equity. So as we are rising, you will benefit from the wealth creation. So instead of thinking about tomorrow, you think about 5 years from now. And I feel like that's what's happened at NVIDIA. Everyone who started with them is like, oh, we still want to come to work, which means it wasn't just about the money.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what relates to the arts too. It's not just about the money. It's about loving what you are doing. So when you're at NVIDIA and you're making these chips and you're doing all this stuff, most people are going to work thinking to themselves, why am I even waking up right now? I'm tired. Then you're like, oh, I need to pay my bills. The employees, they're already multimillionaires. So why are they really waking up?
Yeah.
They could just quit, but they love what they are doing. And I feel like in life, when you love what you're doing, it changes everything.
That is very true. That is very true. And, you know, I think that there's this also amazing part of what artists do is kind of add that happiness and that love and the energy and the support when it comes to companies as a whole. You know, running RoundTable myself, like with other founders and us working towards a similar goal, like we find the love in not just working at our music and working at how we want it to, you know, blow up or whatever. We work in the community. Like we've worked with the community for a decade now, you know, in different parts of the community, every area, you know what I mean? And we want to be able to support the youth and support people that are trying to, you know, better themselves. Like, what does that look like on an artistic side of things? And how can we then help you see yourself as a business? Like we did the entrepreneurship course. You were there, you came through, you know, as a judge. Thank you for that. And the person that ended up winning ended up doing a pitch afterwards and got paid from it. And she was doing, like, she did it through an app. She created an app. I didn't even know she was into STEM like that. I didn't even know she knew about that stuff. You know, she was telling me that, she majors in French. What does that have to do with STEM? You know, she said that she minors in visual arts. What does that have to do with like, you know, creating an app? But she did it. And based off of the things that we talked to her about, she was able to go and, you know, get money and create this idea from scratch, you know? And that's when you realize the impact that you're putting in and that it's more than just you, or like it's about the impact that you're leaving after. You know what I mean? So it's like things like that. Like that's how I see it on the artist side. And like, that is kind of how I think like NVIDIA is kind of going about it, like in terms of like the love of the game. Like, you know, the care for the people that are going to try and grow your business.
I agree. And I feel like impact is what every single one of us is trying to do. Whatever religion you assign yourself to, you care about your family. You care about legacy. And that's exactly the same way with Siastes. So Siastes as a whole comes from the book of Ecclesiastes. Anyone who's Christian knows about this book. That's the scripture that always makes me wake up and be like, okay, it's going to keep me going. Ecclesiastes 4:9 speaks about 2 is better than 1, for when one is down, the other lifts them up. That's what Siastes is about. It's about every one of our team members realizing that we all have a role to play. When one of us goes down, we lift each other up. And that name also reminds me of RoundTable as a whole. It's like we are all sitting around on the table and we each have our part to play. So how has it been working with other people who are fellow like-minded like you, goal-driven, reaching that goal? How has the experience been so far?
It's been amazing.
Okay.
I think that it's, you know, everything that you do when you're, you know, trying to be successful is going to have hardships. Right? There's going to be difficulties because that's just the way life is. You know what I mean? So having a goal and understanding that everybody is going towards that goal together
Yeah.
is a blessing. Like knowing that we all care
Yeah.
about it is a blessing, no matter what difficulties may arise.
Yeah.
You know, and looking at it from a financial
Yeah.
outlook, like, okay, what can we do to make sure that we're financially stable?
Yeah.
You know, and I remember the first day talking to you,
Yeah.
and we were just going back and forth in conversation, and then you let me know that you run a fintech.
Yeah.
And even though, like, I believe in the fact that artists should work with people that are in the tech,
Yeah.
like knowing how people in tech or finance look at artists, I
Yeah.
was like, wow, like it still made me say, wow, like, oh, like, this guy who's doing like a fintech business is interested in this conversation with me, like, and thinks highly of me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that is something that is hard to find anywhere. And especially with the color of our skin, knowing that we're doing that and want to work together and care about the similar things and want to work towards similar goals, like that is in and of itself a blessing, because who said that a person in the arts can't also find financial literacy important, tech important? Like, who is saying this stuff? Who is boxing us into a place that says, oh, we can't do this?
I agree.
Right? On the art side and on the financial or tech side.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think about, people or has there been people who have boxed you in, or have you felt like that?
Definitely. I feel like we all come from backgrounds where we're not blessed enough to know about financial literacy, whether putting money aside and investing, put this aside into the stock market. Not many people know about that. I knew about that through my degree, but other than that, nobody taught me. And even if you are a degree holder, you still need to have financial habits.
Yes,
Because there's some people who have degrees, they still have bad financial habits. And I feel like that's important, to put money aside into the stock market, put money aside into option trading, or for me personally, I like Forex trading. But you need to also invest in yourself too.
Yes.
Invest in yourself, just do a quick course and learn how to trade so that you can make your money work for you. I've had many barriers where people look at you differently. The first time started Siastes, I had a meeting and they were like, oh, okay, it's going to cost you this amount to start Siastes. Basically, how I felt was they weren't saying it in a loving way. They were saying it in a way like, okay, it's a good idea, but you need to put that idea aside and focus on something else.
Yeah.
So for me to, by God's grace, be able to start it, for it to be running well, have my own app, have users on the app, it's a blessing. So I've had many obstacles in particular, but there's gonna be lots more obstacles. And for me personally, I'm open to obstacles because my upbringing was a giant obstacle. It wasn't easy. So I'm not gonna expect it to be easy on the tech founding side when life in general isn't easy. Like, we all have our own stuff. So it's important to have that perspective and just be like, I'm going to do this. Because at the end of the day, when you take a flight, there's always turbulence on your flight. But the pilot doesn't say, we have turbulence, everyone panic. The turbulence comes, and at the end of the day, you're still going to land peacefully.
Yeah.
So these obstacles are going to come upon you, whether you're a young black person, young Asian person, young white person, like, you're going to have these obstacles. By the end of the day, you can overcome it. And that's why I feel like we need more founders who are speaking founders. So it's easy for me to just come here and talk about GitHub, GitLab, the coding, how to code and all that stuff. But there needs to be another side of us to speak to each other on a normal level and be like, we've gone through stuff to reach this point.
Yeah.
My mom wasn't a lawyer. My dad wasn't a doctor. I don't come from money.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean like, because a lot of people, they'll be like, oh wow, this guy, his accent, like he must he must
The accent means success.
yeah, like, oh, there must be some, but no, like, just because we come from different areas, it doesn't mean we've gone through different things. We go through the same thing no matter the country, but you need to keep going no matter what. Like, keep going. I'm telling you, there is light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, man. Like, and that's the thing. Like, and I think for a lot of people, even the financial world is just kind of overwhelming and a little scary. Like, you're looking at the stock market and like you're like, what is all these lines?
Correct.
Like, the green, the red, and then the verbiage that they use, like, oh, it's a bull market, it's a bear market. Why don't you just say up and down? Like, what are we doing? Like,
I agree.
What are we talking about?
So a lot of the people that like I come across and I tell them, oh, you know about the stock market, you invest. The first thing they tell me is, yeah. Yeah. They're like, oh, so did you catch that NVIDIA, like that option? And they're like, yeah, I caught it. I'm like, oh, wow, what price did you catch it at? That's when the conversation stopped. Because then you realize to themselves, that's their defense. The defense of a lot of people is like, I'm going to say I know it so that you won't laugh at me.
Yeah.
But I feel like we've reached a point in life where you need to just be open and be like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
Can you teach me? And I feel like for Siastes, we create something called Siastes Studies where you can go on it, download the course. We're going to do a special offer soon for those who can't afford it, just for you to learn the basics of coding, know the basics of technology. Because a lot of the time we do not know the stuff, but we don't tell the truth. And I feel like being raised like with being shy, being lack of confidence in a certain way in our culture, you don't want to show like, oh, I don't want to show that I don't know something.
Yeah, and I think there's also this like little kind of like pin in our side of like where it's like, I don't want to be called stupid. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like they're like, you don't want to be that person who went in the family, you're stupid. You don't want to be that one. So,
that's true.
So you have to say, I know. Like, I know too. When he knows, I know too.
Yeah. And I feel like that's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough because it's like the same thing we did in the classroom. Is what we do. Like, oh, do you know the answer? Yeah, I know the answer, but you don't say the answer. You just act like, oh, I was going to say that. And I feel like we do the same thing in adulthood too.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, I know what to do, but you don't. And I feel like a lot of people don't learn from people who are younger than them too. Yeah. That's the big problem. If you're younger than, they rather tell you, oh yeah, that's good, but they'll never tell you, oh, that's great. Yeah. They don't want to hype you up too much. They just put you in your place. But it's time for everyone to just lay out. Let out all your gifts and
this kind of idea is like, oh, you can't, I don't want you to be over me.
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can do good for yourself.
Yeah.
But don't do better than me though.
Yeah.
Because then that makes me feel some type of way. But like, I had to go and pretty much show my mom financial literacy. Like, I had to put money that she had into the stock market and say, okay, look, this is how I'm gonna help you. I want you to give me a chance to allow me to raise your money or grow your money by at least like 10% every year. Right? Yeah. So we're gonna invest in, some very medium level stocks, medium risk, maybe like you just medium risk, some low risk, like medium to low risk, investments. You want them to have dividends, like, and then she's like, wait, what's that? And I had to explain, like, like when you see the yield, like that's a percentage of the dividend, year over year. And like, I had to explain like certain terms to her. And then she's like, you know what? Yes. Like, just, you know what? Try it. Like, do, whatever. Like, let's see.
Let's see what happens.
Let's see. Yeah. And from there, she got an understanding of some stuff, and she still tells me like, yeah, you do it. Like whenever she gets a dividend, I'm like, Mom, just invest in one of the stocks. She's like, yeah, you do it. Now, but it's like the fact that she would even give me that opportunity because she sees the worth in it is what's special.
Like, a lot of the time you need to be the testimony for your family. So when it comes to even the tech industry, fintech, you can't escape it. A quick example, just going to the barbershop, they're just watching the football on the free screens, and I'm like, oh, could you put on Bloomberg? They're like, Bloomberg. I'm like, yeah, let me see what's happening in the market. And then they click on it for me out of respect, and I'm teaching them, just the normal stuff of stocks. They're like, oh, but my money's going to go. And they told me directly, like, oh, we rather our money not get lost than for it to grow up. And in my head, I'm like, life's a risk. Like, and I told him, I'm like, okay, so what country you from? They said they're from Jamaica. I'm like, okay, so coming over here was a risk, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you
yeah,
coming
yeah,
here,
yeah.
you could have risked, like, you're not gonna make it, all this stuff. So every single one of them, they downloaded their Quest Trade, which is fintech, and they started buying stocks. Like, that's how to educate people. But sometimes, like, I respect every single one of them because they were humble enough to be like, we do not understand. I feel like in life, that's the line that we do not use. I do not understand. Even in the tech industry, just because someone may be an accomplished tech CEO, it doesn't mean that they are accomplished in life.
Yeah.
And that's where you have to bring that fine line in between. Like, you can respect them on the tech CEO level, but on a life level is a whole different ballgame. And sometimes, like, as human beings, even when you are in a tech team, you need to sometimes ask yourself, who is that individual as a person? Because you have to separate the two. We all have stuff to work on. And I feel like it's important, even in the arts industry, the tech industry, to learn from each other because we all have stuff to work on.
Yeah, I know we were talking earlier on today just about like role models. For instance, like what is your role model when it comes to you know, tech businesses and you know, CEOs in the tech space? And what's your role model when it comes to artists and stuff like that? And like, man, like, yo, role models right now, especially on the art side, getting kind of jankier. It's kind of rough to look for.
But even on the tech side of things, think about it, the tech industry. There's so much money in it that before some things come to light, it's already died down. So just because something, you haven't heard any tech CEOs doing this, doing that, it doesn't mean that there's nothing there. It just means that it hasn't come to light. So regarding the art side, yes, there's so many examples that
we're down bad right now. We're down terrible right now.
Yes, so even growing up, the people who I would look up to on that level, now you don't even mention them because there's so many scandals, etc. And that's what I'm saying. Like, sometimes you have to separate the two. If someone is good on the art side, business side, it doesn't mean they're good on that side. They may need help on that side. It doesn't mean that you have to shut them down or insult them or speak bad about them. Instead, you can show them love. You can help them. You can pray for them. That's what I try my best to do. Like, I feel like us as a society, we're so good at shutting people down. Or let's say someone is going up and then you remind them like, oh yeah, I knew them 5 years ago. He was doing this. She was doing this. But we all have grace to move forward. Like,
I mean, we all have past. Right?
Exactly.
Like, that's the thing. Like, how are you gonna get at somebody about their past knowing that you have a past as well?
Exactly.
Like, we have to be real. Like, can we be realistic for a second? You know what I mean? Like, it took a lot to get to this position in my life personally. Like, you know, like, now I have a fiance, I have a kid, whatever, and being in that space grew me. You know, I already thought I was growing. Like, for instance, I already thought I wasn't getting any sleep. And then I had a child. I realized how much sleep I had before. Now I don't have no sleep.
Now
you know what I mean?
Now that's the thing. When you don't have something, the value, it goes up. And I feel like us as fathers, like me just waking up, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get a long night's sleep. My daughter wakes up and be like, Dad, we're going to the basketball thing. Wake up, take her to basketball. And then my wife and my son wants to meet up, and then we meet up, we play. I'm like, oh, I need to run and meet up with Mary Priority. It's like,
I have business things to do.
That's what I'm saying. She doesn't care about the tech stuff. On one end, they're like, oh, wow, you've got this app, we love it, all these users. She doesn't care about that. And that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not easy, but it can be done. People, so I had someone tell me like, oh, I want to go into tech. Does that mean like I shouldn't have like a personal life? Let me know, what do you mean like a personal? I'm like I shouldn't date, I shouldn't be with a woman. And I'm like, tech CEOs have a private life too. We are married, we do have kids. And I'm
not
like,
robots.
That's what I'm saying.
We just work with them.
But we don't have those examples. That's the problem. It's like all the big CEOs that we hear about, they don't have the best personal life. And I feel like it's not easy, but when you have like Jesus, it will help you push forward on that. You can't do it all by yourself. You will get tired. Like, you get tired. Like, we are humans. Like, as the Bible says, we may sin from time to time. It doesn't mean we dwell upon the sin and sit in it. But we can move forward and help each other on that personal level. So it's not easy, but it can be done. That all comes with the balance. And I feel like a question I wanted to ask you was, you're in the arts, you're doing all this with RoundTable. People can go on YouTube, listen to your music, and at the same time, you are good at the marketing. You are a specialist at public relations. How do you let people understand who you are in the sense of an artist and marketing and PR? How do you let everyone like know or distinguish the two?
Well, I think one thing that's really important is you do have to be around the people. As much as we want to say like we're going into a digital world and that's cool, it's like it is, but people need to see your face. They need to know who you are. Like I want to support you, but gang, like let's be serious. Like who are you? Like what do you do? Like
that's true.
Like what do you care about? Like what is your why? Right?
I want to piggyback on what you just said. Like, who are you? Like, put yourself out there. We all know about Facebook from a long time ago. We all use Facebook. No one actually knew about Mark Zuckerberg as much. But now, if you look at what he's doing in terms of when he's presenting his new idea, this guy's wearing personalized and mirrored tops. He's out like he's like a brand new human being. Do you feel like the tech CEO now is different from who the tech CEO had to be in the past? I say that because in the past, you just had to do your coding. You just had to be in the background. You have probably had one interview in the past 20 years. But now, everyone is like out there. Keynote, just speaking.
I see what you're saying. I think that it's slightly a balance. In the sense that when the CEOs, I see what you're saying in terms of like, you know, they're starting to get a little more out there, but I know like in comparison with, I'm gonna do like a wild comparison, but in comparison with artists, for instance, like it's not comparable in terms of how they try to be famous or their need to be famous to get people to like them, or like people in the tech industry still can be a little more aloof. Like it can still be a little more behind the scenes, have their product or whatever they're doing kind of grow itself. Like sometimes it's the product that is like the fame. Right? Like they're the brand. You know, like they don't have, like the person behind their tech doesn't have to be as like showboaty or whatever. So there are still, I think, like a numerous amount of tech people that can be, but definitely it's grown in terms of the tech people that do like to be the forefront and want to be on that side of like, you know, they want to have that, like the notoriety, right?
What you're saying is definitely true, because you don't want to be like, as anyone who listens to hip hop, be the CEO who's up in the video showing his face all the time. But at this day and age, people want to, like, for example, when you have like a social media page and people are like, oh, is this AI or is this real? Like people are asking this question, like, is this a real page or is it real? People want to at least see your face. It doesn't mean they need to always see your face, but you need to speak in a way that, oh, okay, like who is this individual?
You actually exist, right?
Correct. And I feel like that's the way society has become due to artificial intelligence. If you don't put yourself out there, people actually think that you're an AI.
Yo, that's actually like sidebar question. Do you think that there will become a time where like AI is creating a company?
Yes, 100%. I feel like it's already happening. I feel like it's already happening.
Isn't that kind of like, isn't that kind of messed up? Like AI leading its own company? You know, I didn't think of that until right now. Like how terrifying. No, guys. AI leading its own company is kind of terrifying.
And it's happening in the fintech industry, medtech industry, arts industry for sure. Like people are hearing your vocals, be like, oh, we like these vocals. We're gonna make an AI person, like AI priority on the side, and just run with it. And I feel like in the tech industry, we have to be at the forefront, especially those who are like Black CEOs, African background CEOs, because if you don't protect who you are, and then someone else will define who you are before you do. And that is what's going to happen in AI. If you're not putting yourself out there, learning to code, learning to do these companies, to allow your imprint to be part of the ecosystem, then someone who is not part of your ecosystem, not part of your culture, is going to tell next 100 years who you are, and it's not the truth. So it's more important for everyone to be involved in the arts, those in fintech to understand what is blockchain, what is AI? Let me know the base level of coding, because if you don't, then you're going to get left behind. Anyone who gets left behind, you're just going to sit there in fear.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a question.
Yeah.
For the people who are not so well endowed into, the tech community and understanding. So I'm going to talk from like, that type of a lens.
Yeah.
Because as myself, I'm an artist and I only know so much, right? But like for, I guess, the tech lane and like how, I guess, Tesla has now these robots, this is like a two-pronged question.
Okay.
Do you think that for businesses, like for people, that they should, one, start kind of working on creating more businesses? And I guess it's connected to the second question, but it's because, do you think like robots are going to be taking more of the jobs in like near future, being like in the next like 20 years, right? And you as a person that might have been looking like, let's say somebody who's young right now, looking like, oh, in the next 20 years, I'm going to be so-and-so.
Yeah.
And then finding out when you get to that age, like, oh shoot, it's being taken over by a robot that is now enhanced by AI.
Yeah.
Like, do you think that it's a good idea then for people to start looking into how I can be on the business side of things, to be at the top, being able to have AI under my business, or like robots under my business working for me, than me trying to have to fight a robot for a job?
That's a very good question. I feel like first of all, to the 17, 18-year-old that's looking towards me as like a 33-year-old CEO founder, they're looking at it like someone's going to steal my job. To someone who is like 45, 50-year-old founder who like is around me, they're like, okay, how can I be cost effective in my business and recruit these robots? I feel like it's a perspective change. And I feel like no matter whether you're an employee or not, if you're an employee in a business, you need to have a CEO mindset. And if you are a CEO in an AI business or whatever, you need to have an employee mindset. So it's going to work in both parts. In the Western world, we are more prone to know research about the AI, about the blockchain. Like, we love the cryptos of the world. But the truth is, the highest number of crypto users are in Africa, whereas everyone thinks that is in America. If you're talking about those who are really trading, they trade in Bitcoin. They never trade in their numerical values because they feel like the African currencies are not as valuable as of right now. If we dip it into the AI section of things, people are looking at AI in a fear. They're like, it's going to take my job. The truth is, it's going to create even more jobs. The problem is, if you don't do the research now, you're going to get left behind. So I don't think we should approach AI in the fear context. We should look at it in an opportunity context. So in terms of Siastes, before Siastes implemented AI, it was just known as social fintech background. CF49 AI is something which we created so that when you're on the chat service, eventually you won't just be speaking to a human being. You'll be speaking to an AI too. So I feel like no matter your business, you should integrate AI, but you need to also become an employee and act like you are working for AI too. So you need to do more research in it. Because we are in control of AI, AI can't really do too much without us. The fear people put into AI is that, oh, it's going to do stuff without us. But even Elon Musk's robots it was controlled by human beings.
Somebody.
Correct. So you have to realize it's still developing.
Yeah.
While something is still developing, that is when like the black culture needs to also be part of it, because it's not a you versus me. It's a you versus your own knowledge. So you need to change your perspective.
Take that one in.
Change your perspective on this whole topic and be like, oh, black people are behind on AI, and realize like we are prone to express our feelings on how we do not have something or we do not know something. But me, my mindset is like the spirit has no color. So if you become your spirit man, you're gonna tap into your creativity and realize like, how can I use AI to my advantage? At the end of the day, if you look at it on a godly perspective, Christian perspective, I ask myself, okay, God, like, why did you let the devil drop down from heaven to cause chaos on earth? God is looking at it like he has no power, but you need to change your mindset onto how earth is really run. And that's what I put into AI. Instead of me shaking and being like, oh, I'm going to try and save money and, you know, I'm not going to recruit any employee. Like, in terms of creating someone for content creation, I can easily say, oh, why don't I just sign up to this AI? But the truth is, we as human beings, we are drawn onto human interaction. If that wasn't the case, why are we reposting TikToks? We are reposting because we like this human being, we want to get to know them. Why are we still paying to go to the someone's concert when they come to Toronto?
Yeah.
We want that human interaction. So it's not dead, and I don't think it will ever die as long as you change your mindset on that behalf.
I love the fact that you said you versus your own knowledge. Listen, you're not versing me. We're not versing each other. It's you versus your knowledge. So when you are asking certain things and you're trying to figure out certain things, the best thing to do is educate yourself. School is not the end of education.
Yeah.
Like, and it doesn't have to be like you educate yourself. We have YouTube now. We do have AI that you can use.
Yeah.
But you have to educate yourself on how to use AI. Like, it's the same as the stock market. I realize that a lot of things in life are very similar to the stock market.
Yeah.
You're seeing something that is going to be big in the next 10 to 20 years.
Yeah.
Why would you not invest in that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're watching it grow and be the biggest thing ever.
Yeah.
And you're going to be like, let me wait.
Yeah.
It's like the people that are benefiting are the people that at least still say, hold on, let me just put invest a little bit. Like if we're talking about money terms, let me just put a little 20. Let me just see how that goes. Okay, next month.
Yeah.
Let me put 100 this time.
Yeah.
Let me see. Oh, I'm still growing. Next month, let me put 3.
Yeah.
And it grows because you're seeing
Yeah.
the value now in what you saw in the past.
Yeah.
And you're educating yourself on the fact that you need to invest in this thing because it's growing and it's becoming amazing, instead of saying, oh, like, let me back out of it and let me try to, like you said, like, let me try to save, let me try to keep it like this all to myself, not knowing that you could be bettering yourself and understanding it so that you can be at the top of this next, I guess, move that the world is going to be making.
Like, everyone's talking about AI. But the truth is, me personally, like, I'm looking into something called quantum computing, which is like the next level of AI. If we want to link AI to the arts, why is it called artificial intelligence? Like, at the end of the day, art equals creativity, which means man-made creativity, which means that man is the one who's going to do all of this and create. But we have the creator who created man. So we need to change our perspective within AI, stop shaking all the time, and really increase your knowledge base. Because like even the Bible says, lack of knowledge, my people perish. So if you really, really lack knowledge, whether it's fintech, finance, coding, technology, you will eventually pay the price of it. So that's why it's important for us to teach the next generation about, okay, regarding if you're in the arts, this is how you need to do your finances. This is how you need to do your creativity. You are in the tech space. We are all are. When you wake up, what's the first thing we do? People check Instagram more than checking like CP24.
Yeah.
Instagram is our CP24.
Yeah.
So we are all in
Yeah.
the tech in some way. When we are sending a message, that's all tech. So we don't allow anyone to tell you, oh, I'm not in the tech industry. You are 100%. So you need to recognize your value and keep it going.
Yeah,
So,
and I think that brings up a really great point. That if you're already in the industry,
Yeah.
you might as well educate yourself about it.
Correct.
Right? Why make it run faster than you?
Yeah.
Right? Like you shouldn't be running faster than wisdom.
I agree.
It's just not. It's, you know, like do things that make sense. If it's something that you're already going to use, try to educate. I'm not saying you have to be a genius, because you know that just might not be your strong suit, and that's okay. Like not everybody is built for everything, right? But if you can educate yourself just a little bit more than what you were, and you know, you grow in the education of this thing that you have to use in this day and age. I mean, COVID happened and we all went Zoom, right? Which was just all tech. Like that was the way to meet each other, because we were locked in our houses. So think about how important it is now to realize that there's things now that like tech is taking another leap. Right. And so it's smart to be a part of the next leap and understand it more.
So that's the thing. Like when it comes to AI and tech, what's the one way to prevent people from joining the next wave? Fear.
Yes.
So when crypto was becoming the wave, what did they tell people? Are losing their money. That's all they told us.
Yes.
The truth is, while you were doing that and the value of crypto was going down, the banks took over. So that's how the world is run. When you click on CP24, they tell you, oh, 4 people have just died in Toronto. This has died in Toronto. They say that so that when you move out of Toronto, what's going to happen? More corporations who are abroad can take over, and then people with the low prices, they can take over in terms of the housing. This whole world is run by fear. Oh, the stock market is about to tank. Oh no, sell your stock. When you sell it, what happens? Those who are more richer, the wealthy, they take over the stocks. At some point, we need to change our mindset from fear. Instead of seeing AI as something that's going to take over your job, you take over the AI industry. You create an AI that's going to help someone go into the medical industry, go into the housing industry, go into the arts industry with tech. Like there's so much you can do to take tech to the next level. But the moment you go onto the fear bandwagon, that's when that's it. And that's going to be a problem in our society, like moving forward. In regards to RoundTable, how do you feel like you're going to use the next wave of tech to press forward?
I think something that we're even planning to do is to create like a subscription, like even for RoundTable, so that you could know when we're having events. So like we might even in the future, like I don't even know if we've talked about this too strongly, but like having an AI kind of let people know like when these events are happening, and like kind of help them understand like where it's going to be happening, and like how they can get more involved. And subscription will allow for you to be a part of these events because you have this subscription. Maybe you get like a card or something on your phone that has like our logo or their certificate that will show like, okay, you've got their subscription. You could be a part of this partnership that we have over here. You can take your videos, you can, you know, get your headshot if you want as an artist, because that's important if you're gonna do performances or you want to have your EPK. Even like, okay, now we're having performances, you get to come out to at least one of them, you know what I mean, for a discounted price or something like that, you know, because you have this subscription. Like that's gonna be, I think, the next level, definitely, like for us, when it comes to.
Okay, that's good, because for me, when I speak to other individuals who are in the business entrepreneurship phase, they don't really have a plan towards using AI. So I feel like that's really good that RoundTable has that vision. Just recently, Siastes, in terms of our tech division, we opened up like a place in Accra, Ghana, for people to at least get used to tech, a quick understanding. In regards to Siastes Studies, there's an organization, a part of us, who helps people like learn forex in terms of like there's an amount which they should pay for an academy in which we try and sponsor them to go there. So gradually we're trying to like help people who can't afford the basics of fintech and tech, certain industries, to help them learn more about it. I feel like that's something RoundTable are also doing. It's basically like the USP of RoundTable, unique selling point, in terms of we are here for the community. We are trying our best to set a good example in our community regarding the arts, separating yourself from where someone grew up or anything that's linked to negativity. How has the reception been from the community in terms of what you guys have been doing?
Nah, it's definitely amazing.
Nice.
Like just seeing how we're doing it, why we're doing it.
Yeah.
The places that we're doing it in. Like we're definitely, because even though like RoundTable has been a thing, it's like it's been B2B a lot. Like so like business to business, working with a lot of corporations. And so we're getting to a point where we now want it to be like more like you guys, wherever you're at, just join. We'll have a space. You know, you can come and be a part of the course. Like learn whatever. You can pick whichever I guess category you would be in, whether it's you know this or that, like that we have as part of our courses, whatever it is. You can be a part of that and learn specifically about that thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like you know specifically about art, specifically about how art can help you in your business. You know, or how to be a better artist, as you know, understanding yourself as a service-based business that sells products, like how to now link yourself with somebody possibly in the STEM world. It's like things that we've done successfully, we can now give to others and like teach them how to do, you know? And I think that that's a very important part that we want other artists to know. Like once you have learned something and you've gotten to a certain space in your career as an artist, you are valuable in just like we were talking about, your knowledge. Right? Your knowledge, like you versed your knowledge and you won. You know what I mean? Like you're at now that next level where you can say, I can teach somebody. Right? And that is a valuable thing and you should also get paid for it. Right? So kind of creating like this position for people to come and realize things like that and realize themselves and realize their self-worth as artists and giving them maybe even like that credibility, I think would be nice for us to be doing for these artists, you know, in the near future. And that is definitely going to be a part of like how RoundTable runs and something that's going to make us happy. Doing.
I feel like a lot of the conversations that we've had in regarding to Siastes, regarding marketing and PR, has really changed my perspective, and it basically fastened a lot of the planning in which I had for Siastes. For example, when it came down to like connecting Africa with North America and Europe, I always had that vision. But with your perspective of what you've done, like at RoundTable, and I even told you when I first met you, I'm like, oh, did you have a master's in marketing? Because my brother has a master's in marketing, and the stuff that you're telling me, I'm like, wow, this is really like visionary. And I'm sitting there like, okay, how can we take this to the next level? Within a short time period, having like over 20,000 users in like a couple of months, I realized that even the platform that I based Siastes on, I needed to create another one on a whole other platform. And I feel like the demand and the core base that you have over these years and what you've done to help Siastes reach that particular level is something that I didn't know would happen. Obviously, it's in God's hands, but I'm happy with what has happened. In regards to your team at RoundTable, the core team, as well as bringing people in, how has that process been? Because like for me, before even speaking to you, before speaking to a content creator, before speaking to someone who does like Siastes studies, it it's a tough process.
Yes.
Basically, it's like you talk to them, but it's not like, okay, yeah, cool,
Yeah.
you come in. How has that been for you at RoundTable?
It's definitely difficult. It's a journey.
Yeah.
Because you want to find not just people that are good
Yeah.
at what you want them to be good at, but the people that also match the culture of what we want to build as RoundTable. Like, you know, sometimes artists can have I don't want to say a superiority complex,
Yeah.
but like they kind of want to be the show. And it's amazing. Like, you know,
Yeah.
we don't want to crack down on you because you want to be the show. That's part
Yeah.
of what your branding or who you want to be as an artist. That's
Yeah.
amazing. However, when it comes to RoundTable, like we also care about the community so much
Yeah.
that me as who I am, I can still be the show by putting somebody first.
Yeah.
Like I can still be me while saying, "Oh yeah, Jay, like do your
Yeah.
poetry or can like do your raps, like be big, like go do your music video.
Yeah.
Let me support you. Like I'll be in the music video, just chilling, like making it look good. Whatever I can do to support you. Who do I have to contact? Like that is a mindset that we think is important because we want to help them grow.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? We want to help each other grow, and other artists that we work with, we want to help them grow. We want to see them doing big shows,
Yeah.
see them working with corporate people that they would have probably never thought that they would, you know what I mean? So that you can have that on your artistic resume.
Yeah.
You can say, I've worked with this corporation. I've worked with this person. I've been around this community.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like you can say that now, which puts you in a completely different position. And that is kind of what's been like the difficulty, but we still have been able to recruit at least like a few people and say like, oh man, like I see that you have the same understanding as us and the same vision, knowing that we want to support the community while we're rising. Like there's no need to try and put other people down to rise yourself up, you know, or raise yourself.
That's powerful. And I feel like that even relates to like the sweater consistency is key. Like Black Wealth Co. Just meeting the founder, like I've met him a few times and we're friends now, but his vibe was different. And I feel like as like Black founders or founders as a whole, it's important to make sure you bring up each other's brand and build each other up, because at the end of the day, there's more than enough for each and every one of us.
Yeah.
I feel like the way that RoundTable cares about the community is something that you can't avoid. You can see it when you speak to every single one of you individually. They care about the community. With me, when I'm walking the streets of Toronto, that's why I created like my charity, Home of Rafa, to help the homeless in Toronto, because you can't escape it. It's there right in front of you. I feel like no matter what you are doing or what industry you're in, you need to care about the people, care about the community around them. Because at the end of the day, the same people you see on the way up, you're going to see on the way down too. So, so while you're there, be humble as you're rising up. Because at the end of the day, you don't know. Life is like this. I've never seen someone's life who's just up.
It's
always up, down,
same
up,
as
down,
the
like,
stock market, man. Like, it all comes back to the stocks, man. Like it's very similar. Like you invest in yourself similarly in the way that you invest in the stock market. You're looking at what the value will be in the next like 10 years. Like you do long-term investing. The same way you long-term invest in yourself. You're seeing how valuable it will be, and even invest in other people. Like how you invest in other people is the same way. You're seeing how valuable they will be in the next 10 years. Like the potential to somebody you can never gauge, right? You just can't gauge that. And so being able to like kind of like pour into people is a blessing. Like it's a blessing to be able to pour into somebody, knowing that you're helping them grow, knowing that you're helping them become the person that, you know, like you saw them become, or that they see themselves becoming. Like that is a goal in of itself.
That's like what you're saying is powerful. And I feel like every step that my life has taken has been perfectly assigned for me, because when I was down spiritually, when I moved to Atlanta to work, I went to a ministry school, International House of Prayer. I went to the Bethel Atlantis of the world and went to another ministry school. Why? Because I realized I am not the man that I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
And before you even reach the stage of being like married or as a father, you need to take care of yourself first.
Yeah.
Because you being like part of RoundTable, one of the founders of RoundTable, you being part of the marketing PR of Siastes for a tech company which connecting Africa with Europe and North America, it's not easy. Like, period. You're balancing personal life with work life and doing all the stuff. And I feel like we as human beings don't realize how much we are doing to even function on a high level, period.
Yeah.
Like, it takes a lot. So what do you feel like are your tips to the younger generation to help them be like, okay, this is what I can do to fulfill my dreams, basically?
Yeah, definitely. And this is sometimes hard, but like, you gotta do it. You got to do. You have to listen to other people.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean. Like, and I'm not saying to listen to everybody or listen to everything that everybody says.
Yeah,
but whenever somebody is talking, try to find the gems in what they're saying. You might not be okay with everything they're saying, but if you can find some of the gems in what they're saying, even if they're just trashing on you, if you find some of the gems, you will better your life. And I can tell that to you for a fact, because whatever gem that you were able to take, it was a gem for a reason, and you took it for a reason. Like, you're like, okay, this is something that I can improve on, or this is something that was positive about what I'm doing. And you can understand that, okay, I can start to grow from this position. Like, we had to take the gem of, can you guys please split RoundTable? Like, can we have a RoundTable Academy and a RoundTable Records so that we understand that when you're teaching people and you're supporting people on the organization and community side, that is, okay, that's an academy. And when you're doing your music side and you're pushing promotions and you're marketing,
that was good advice.
Like you're on the musical side of things. Like, can we understand that distinction? And so we had to take that gem. Like, you know what I mean? Even though we know that they will come together to work in tandem.
I would like to meet the person who gave you that.
Right. Yeah. Definitely, like, you gave us that advice, but we were hearing that slightly even before as well. But, you know, like, when you hear something more than
reaffirms
once, like,
what you've been told before.
So it's like, it's time now to, really, like, put that forth. So it's very intelligent to start to listen to people other than yourselves. Even though you could be 100% right still. Like, you can be 100% right and still listen to somebody so that you're 110% right now. Like, you can be 110% right about something because you just took somebody else's advice and you're seeing that, oh, this is making me not just work in the direction I'm going in, but now I'm able to work even faster. See, that's the thing about being 110% right. It's not that you're now more right. It's just that you're now faster and more efficient in the area that you're doing it in. And that's like a push in and of itself, right? To start moving faster and more efficiently in the route that you already want to take, because you know that, okay, this is the right way to go about my business. I already see that this is working. Now when you start taking this advice, the slander a bit, like taking, okay, this is the gem, okay, that kind of hurt, but what can I learn from this? When you start piecing those together, it's like a puzzle, and then you piece it together properly, like, okay, I've increased my efficiency in the way that I'm going, like, by like 50 times now. Like, I can do this a lot better than what I was doing before. And that's what we're working on. That's where we're trying to get to, is we're trying to get better. As good as you are, there's improvement that can be made, because there's people in front of you that you don't see. right? And you don't see everything that they're doing.
Yeah.
You don't see everything that Drake might be doing to kind of bolster his business.
I agree.
Right behind the scenes, like he's making music.
Yeah.
And you see the music, you hear the music, you're like, oh yeah, this is nice. But what is he doing behind the scenes to make sure that music was able to grow as big as it was?
Yep.
Right? Like think of that stuff.
That's the thing. Like you can see the strength of a company or organization by who's at the top of their team. Many people look at the founder like, oh, he's the founder, but really behind the founder, there may be someone who's doing more work than the founder. The COO, a lot of the time, they're doing the work more than even the founder.
Man.
There's the CTO person, like for Siastes as a whole, the COO, he's in America. The CTO, he's in Africa. Like there is around the world. I may have other people doing work within Siastes, but it doesn't have to be within the same country. You can have an international perspective in your organization.
Yeah.
I feel like that is needed. In every organization, you need to be more than just, oh, we are running Toronto. Like, no, there's more than to Canada than just Toronto. You can go to Ottawa too. You can go to Halifax. Like, you need to change your mindset because there is so much like in the world that needs what you have. I believe like the nucleus of creativity is Toronto. Like it's a melting pot.
Yeah.
It's a big, and this is me. I've lived in Atlanta for 3 to 4 years. Toronto is different. Even if you look at Ethereum, he was in Toronto.
Yeah.
So he's from here.
Yeah.
Yes, his background is from Russia, but it comes from here. When it comes to the Blockchain Futurist Conference, when you go there, you'll be like, this is amazing. Like Siastes was part of the sponsors of that event.
Yes.
Like it's incredible. But sometimes I realize when you're from here, you sometimes don't see the value of Toronto. You're like, yeah, I'm just from Toronto. Like I'm from here. Like, but for me coming in, I'm like, wow, this is incredible.
Yeah.
And that's why there's so many examples of immigrants who come from abroad making it even more than those who are born and raised here. Because when you see the value of something, you're like, I'm going for it. I'm going for it. So in terms of like RoundTable, you guys have the experience. You've put your music out on Spotify, you go on YouTube, Apple Music, also your tape.
Yeah.
Do you have something else coming out too? Or?
Yeah, definitely. So for my tape, I have, the songs that I recorded. And so I'm going to put out a music video.
Nice.
Music video is going to be for if you gotta go, go, if you gotta go. Yeah.
I'm out on the remix.
I'm
out on the remix.
I don't know. Can you sing? Yeah, man. I'm doing some big things with that.
Yeah.
And wanting to make sure that I get all the songs that I want to be singles to come out soon in like a music video. I'm still working on that for all the people that I've been asking me. I'm working on it. Working on it. And I mean, there's all budget to these things. Yeah. So I'm getting there, and there's time. Like because I'm still. I love the community, so I'm still working in the community. Still working with the youth. So but I'm biding my time. And they will be coming out soon. I'm trying to make sure that the music video of If You Gotta Go comes out in November. So you know what I mean. Just keep your eye out for that. But on that note, what's going to happen? Like what's coming up for Siastes?
There's a lot of things. There's going to be lots of updates with the app. There's going to be a feature that people can download and also upload their own videos, just like YouTube.
Okay.
That you can go on there, create your own thing, download other people's videos, upload your own. Eventually, they can monetize from it. Exactly the same model as YouTube. Why does Siastes want to do that? Well, in Africa, there's so much creativity.
Yeah.
The problem is they don't have that much money to focus on their creativity. So what do? They want a visa to come abroad and to work and get money.
Yeah.
With Siastes, we want to set up spots in Africa so that people can, first of all, have their own office operations within it, and then they can create their own profile, monetize from it, as well as when they finish university, they can work within that department.
Yeah.
So in my mind, like Accra's already done. In my mind, the next one is Zambia, which I've also had conversations with to set up Siastes Studies and also have a department over there. There's so much technological developments that I wish I could reveal, but I'll just give a quick snapshot.
Suantay.
Yeah, just a quick
Most
one.
weird.
Yeah, but as a whole, like the progression has just been shocking. Like in terms of my strategic planning and the team strategic planning, I've been surprised so far. But I've leveraged the power of social media. I've leveraged the power of those who already have a presence. Like my best friend has like 500,000 followers on Instagram. So I realized, and that's what I discussed with you before. As a CEO, as a founder, whatever your industry is, you need to know your strengths and your weaknesses.
Yes.
You need to assess it and make sure that every single team member that is on your team fills into your deficiencies. So if you're not good at something, they're good at it. Allow them to do it. Because for me, I realized I'm not good in that department. Like growing up, I never had no social media because I just didn't want it. I didn't want to put myself out there. I realized to myself, you can't do that right now. But at the same time, I don't have the gifts that Priority has. I don't have the gifts that my content career has. But I can allow them to shine. So I feel like it's important to put people in place that you can complement each other and allow them to shine. Yep. Instead of just focusing, I'm just going to pay a subscription fee to an AI, like focus on the individual. Through that individual, show them how to implement the AI and make it progress even further. You still need human beings in your organization. Tesla has human beings doing the robot. It's not just Elon Musk with a bunch of robots. Like he has people organizing it. The NVIDIAs of the world. These are not AI millionaires. These are human beings.
76.
Correct. Like these are not AI. These are human beings. So you need to still have that human being mindset and learn how to communicate. I also realized that a lot of people in today's society do not know how to communicate. And that's a big problem. Yeah. People finish university, college, they've got the certificate, but they don't even know how to pull a conversation. A lot of people are CEOs, they don't even speak to the employees or team members. It ain't right. It's more like, okay, we got this Zoom meeting in 30 minutes. Okay, let's just do what we do in the organization. Done. There's more. Instead of talking, you can listen. Because a lot of the times, the people you're working with have the ideas. You even told me recently, like the answer to your question or the problem, the solution comes through your team members.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah. And I feel like as human beings, even when we're going to networking events, I went to a networking event and everyone was just crossing their hands. And I was like, why did you even come? Like if you're coming to networking event, and you're just folding your hands, then you just stay at home. You came to networking event so that you can speak to people, so you can bounce off of people and get to know them. I remember even like the first time I even saw you, it was like a networking event. So it's important to put your pride aside, who you are, etc., and just humble yourself. Go in there, have your goal in mind, and ask questions. Today's society, we don't really ask any questions. We're just online with a quick DM. And that goes into many things, like not just professionalism.
Yeah. And these are some amazing business tips. I hope you guys are writing them. Y'all should be writing these down the way these business tips are coming out for free right now.
I know. Like, so most of the time people are like, okay, come to my event, pay like some $300 and I'll tell you all this stuff. Like, we just want people to better themselves. We're not here to charge them for any podcast or any, like, we want people to sit at home, write stuff down, and implement everything that you've heard. There are people who are in the arts. There are people who have a business mind and they have the gift of singing. They have the gift of rapping. They have the gift of entrepreneurship, the gift of PR, marketing. There are people who are black tech CEOs who know how to code, who can go on GitHub and you can see, okay, he's done this. There's some people, they say, oh, I know how to code. You have no evidence. There's nothing. Like if you go into the GitHub, it's just empty. If there's a hackathon right now, we all sat down. They're like, we can code. They wouldn't know what to do. Yeah, that's not a bad thing because there are non-tech CEOs. By the end of the day, it's important to put yourself out there and be like, I don't know how to do it. Yeah, but I have a technical guy who does it for me, so that the next young man who doesn't know how to code can say, oh, I want to be a tech founder. Yeah. Instead of their parent telling them, oh, you don't even know how to code. Like, how can you be a tech founder? But he doesn't know how to code. He's a tech founder. we need to be more transparent in that department. Like, it's not like the arts where you can be like, I want to be a singer, but I can't sing. That doesn't work. But in the tech industry, it can work because it's more than just the founder. You need to have that team around you.
Yeah.
And through the team, you can progress. Because the CEO at the top, he's the visionary.
Yes.
But it's the visionary that needs to put the people in place for it to reach that next level. So in regards to RoundTable, do you feel like every single one of you are the visionaries, or is like there's the visionary behind it?
Definitely. I think we all have like very cohesive plans that when we talk to each other, we know that they'll work together.
Yeah.
You know, with how we speak to each other, the meetings that we have, like, okay, these can work, but we know that in due time they'll work. Like, we have so much great plans, so much great thoughts for people, you know, coming up, definitely, you know, in the future, you know, like we know that these will work, you know? And some of it just takes time, some of it just takes capital, but we're definitely getting there.
Yeah.
And when we do, y'all will be able to experience it for sure. Like, you'll be able to experience it for sure. Can't say too much now, but yo, when we get that out there, you guys are going to be shocked about like just the amount and the gravity that it's going to have, you know, and the impact that it's going to have. So, you know, definitely stay tuned to that. You know, stay tuned to what we're going to do with Siastes. Like, what?
It's going to be a big deal.
Yeah.
It's going to be big because even for, I remember I listened to one of your tapes and I was like, what, you do Afro beats? Because I knew you as a singer and I'm like, oh, you knew that? Because at the end of the day, the Ghanaian side of Siastes, there are artists that's connected to that and they do Afro beats. So me listening to you, I'm like, wow, you need to come over there. And I was telling you, I'm like, you need to go over there.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
They need to hear something.
Yeah. You know? But it's like, you know, that's the thing. Everything in due time, not in too much of a rush. I'm gonna buy my time, like, and that's the great thing. Once you have a plan, you know that, you know, the people that are gonna come into your life to be able to allow the plan to work efficiently and to work properly, right? Yeah. And so there was probably just some moves that were supposed to be made after I had you. I'm like, well, you know, I'd love to go to you know, Africa, be around my people, and you know, just do some great stuff. So you know, I'm definitely looking towards things like that, and love doing this. Yeah, man.
So another quick question, like, what do you prefer, stocks or crypto?
Me personally, I definitely am a stocks guy.
Okay,
I'm not gonna lie.
Okay,
I liked a lot of the stuff that was happening in crypto, but I feel like some of the stuff and the innovation kind of just started to kind of wane on them. Like I used to look at like stuff like Dreamland, like Mana, stuff like that. Like that had this idea of like creating this virtual world where people can have virtual land, and
because you're creative.
And, you know, and I thought like, well, then you would have to have a virtual system for us to virtually go into, so we could virtually start using the land. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I think that there just needs to be like the development from that side, and then allowing people to just easily be able to use the money that, you know, in these places that they're putting their money into. Like, if I'm putting my money into a crypto, I should be able to have ways to use it on crypto things. I don't know how much crypto things yet that, you know, that really embody crypto as a whole.
I agree.
For us to start to use.
Yeah, I feel like us as individuals, we wasn't informed of the utility behind these cryptos. Yes. All we got told was, oh, this one's going up.
Yeah, this one's going up. This one's going up.
And I feel like
money in there. It's like, bro, okay, what the hell?
Yeah, it was like a WrestleMania marketing.
Put your money in there.
And I feel like we needed to know more.
Yeah.
Like we needed to know, okay, what does this crypto do? When does it create? Who is behind it? I feel like even some of these cryptos, we don't even know who was behind any of them. All we knew is, oh, we're going to make some big money. Then some people got rug pulled. And I feel rug pull is like, You build it up, then you just pull the rug and fall down.
Yes.
For those who don't know. But these are things which in our community, as we discussed before, we need to know. You need to know more information on things before you push forward. Another example, you go on Instagram, what's the first thing you see? You're like, come and invest in this real estate project. And you're like, oh, wow, I'm going to make money from it. And I feel like instead of just listening, do your research.
Yes.
Where is this project? How much was the previous project sold around the area? Can you please send me a market comparison of what is selling in that area in order for me to invest? Who is the investor? Can I have the track record of your previous projects that you've done? We don't ask these questions.
Yeah, people don't know that.
As soon as we see someone, we like, oh, wow, he's got that many followers. Oh, he must be legitimate. Let me just proceed. It's like, no, we need to do the back research behind it. That's when fintech comes in. Siastes is going to allow these discussions to happen with the following things that we are going to do in the future. Currently, even when you go on and you're talking to people, everyone has that mindset of fintech. You're all talking together. There's a forum. Like, you can go in it and you see these subject matters. You can talk to each other. Let your thoughts out. We're tired of certain information not coming to our community. We need to be part of the discussion.
Yeah.
And that's why Siastes was created. So everyone's part of the discussion.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean it's just for people that look like us. It's for every single individual, but it's catered towards people who weren't normally involved. People who do not have that coding background. You do not know that much about AI. You do not know that much about blockchain, but you care about it. You want to be a part of it. And that's why I feel like it's a blurred line between the arts and the tech, because people in the arts feel like, oh, we're not respected, or people in tech are getting all the focus. And me being a founder, me who wants to at least push forward for the arts to be respected, I want to make sure that there is a bloodline, that you can go into these organizations who are, let's say, doing pitching events, and you be like, oh yeah, I'm in the arts.
Yeah.
I should be part of this discussion. Like, instead of just going there and feeling like, oh, I'm not part of these tech people.
Yeah.
No, you are part of Siastes. You are an important piece to this international tech company.
And I think also with like Siastes, it's like not only now do you get to be a part of like this information, part of it in the news, it's like you now get to see us talk about it and maybe be, come to one of these.
Yeah, come and
sit down, let's talk.
Like, we want to hear from you. If you feel like you want to say what you feel, if you want to be part of that discussion between tech, between the arts, between fintech, AI, blockchain, you take a seat right there. Like, we want to hear from people. We are tired. We are tired from people not being involved, or being shy, acting like you know the information. We want you to know the information. We want you to be part of the coding discussion, the AI discussion.
Just to ask questions.
Correct.
Just to ask questions, like, because I mean, I can ask those questions that I want, but there's like a limit to maybe the questions that I think of to answer, or to ask. You know, somebody else, they'll be like, yeah, I've been having this question for so long. You guys didn't answer this one for me. Can you answer, like, why does, you know what I mean? And then we can have a proper discussion, of like 3 levels. If somebody is like beginner, intermediate, expert, like.
I remember speaking to someone and they were like, oh, I want to go into tech, but I want to be part of the pitch competitions and like win 10K and do my own company. And I had to break it down to him. I was like, that 10K won't make you start the company. And they were like, why? Like, everyone's fine, like, pitching for... I'm like, they pitch and they pitch and they pitch. That 10K won't do it, but it's a stepping stone. And I'm trying to tell them, like, but these are the things people don't know, because they're hearing from a tech founder who knows, like, you need to have more. You need to... If you can't do it, then you need to learn how to code and do it yourself. Because if you feel like you need like 10K to do it, then you're not being told the truth.
Yeah.
And one of the things that when I speak to the founders and they're speaking to me, they're like, I've been to so many pitches, like they just want to do the vision. They want to implement their vision, but they haven't got the funding to do that vision. Because it's not every day someone's going to win the 100K, 500Ks. a lot of the time, those who win those amounts, they've been in business for like 4 to 5 years already.
Yeah.
Like Siastes has only been a couple months. They've been there for a long time. So for us to be where we are, like, is not normal. But that's why I try and tell people the truth. I don't want to give anyone false hope.
Yeah.
We want to be as transparent as possible to help the next generation be like, oh, wow, when I spoke to Priority, he told me the truth.
Yeah.
Like, he's the reason why I got this deal with this company, because he showed me the truth and he showed me the ropes. Oh, I spoke to Albert a long time ago and he told me this. Like, that helped me, because even when I speak to people, I asked myself growing up, did I ever speak to anyone in tech? Never. No one took time out of their schedule to say, oh, I'm going to speak to these kids. They'll be like, how much you paying me?
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's about impact and not money. And I feel like that's what we speak about before, in terms of, in life, you need to blur the lines between that. You can't say that, oh, I just want to make the quick bag, but I don't want to make any impact. You can do both. By the end of the day, the person that passes away isn't really remembered for how much money was in his bank account. They're remembered by the impact that they made while they were here.
Yes.
And I feel like you have to put that in your mind. So in regards to RoundTable, you've already made that impact. You're going to make much more impact. Let's say someone's watching this and they're like, wait, RoundTable, I've heard of that. I want to be a part of them. How would they be a part of them?
So
It's up for at 1 hour, 30 minutes. It's like 5:53. It's gonna start getting loud in like 7 minutes. No stress.
Oh, okay.
No worries at all. I'm just letting you know. In
Oh,
about
okay.
7 minutes, people are gonna start pulling up with like the music side things.
Okay.
So it's like, do your thing. You're good.
Okay.
It's like 7 minutes with no noise. Like literally, you can rock till they come in. You know?
Okay.
So
Okay.
Just do your thing, but I'm just letting you know on time and shit.
Okay.
Okay, appreciate it.
Yeah.
So yeah, in terms of joining, we're in a growth period right now. However, we're taking our time. So
Did you get my mixtape?
you had a mixtape? They didn't even show me. But definitely, like, you can, talk to us. You can follow us, Roundtable, roundtable.rtg. That's for our Roundtable Records. And there's Roundtable Academy.rtg that you can follow us there for, more of the teaching side. And we'll get to you. You can talk to us. Like, we're open. Like me, like myself, you can ask me, priority.rtg. We're RTGs, right? Like you can message us, talk to us, connect with us, and we'll see like where you're at in your journey, where you want to get to, who out of us you want to talk to.
Okay.
And then after, we'll connect with you and see where we can take this.
And if someone comes at you and be like, oh, Priority, like, how you doing? Like, and you think they want to join RoundTable, they're like, oh, I want to be part of the tech company. Like, you're the PR marketing. Like, what do we need to do? Like,
Yeah, well, then you have to talk to Mr. Siastes. Definitely, like, there's just a lot of conversation that needs to happen. Like, we just need to see what that looks like, how what your time looks like, how that can work to be able, and then see like if you actually fit within the culture, what that looks like, and then see how we can develop from there for sure. So
okay, this was episode 1. I'm so happy that everyone tuned in. Hope you love it and you hear from us soon.
If you
Thank
live
you.
long enough, start to see things aligning. You're feeling down, can't imagine what you're fighting.